What's up, YouTube Nation? And welcome to D. Holloway's Midlife Takeover, where it's never too late to pursue your freedom. If you're watching my video, I want to thank you for the investment of your time, and hopefully I give you a great reason in return for future videos as I document my life lessons and my journey to live life on my own terms in my own time. And hopefully along the way, I'll inspire you to do the same because you absolutely deserve it. All right, so let's get into this video. I was listening to somebody the other day, and they were talking about fear and how it stops you from growing. So I wanted to make a video about my own thoughts on fear and how it's impacted my journey and how I've seen fear affect a lot of other people's lives that I know. And a lot of times we get fear mixed up with caution. So let's talk about the difference between the two. When we're talking about fear, what we're really talking about is this strong feeling that we get that's caused by anticipation of danger or the awareness of danger. And an example of fear would be a red stoplight. You don't routinely blow through red lights because you know the odds are very high that you just might die going through that intersection that you blew through. What you do is you stop and you wait your turn until the light turns green. So with caution, you look at it more like a warning and you give some thought to it to assess the risk. So an example of that would be a yellow traffic light. You prepare to stop, but if you can't stop, you slow down, you look both ways, and if everything looks good, then you proceed through the light. You recognize the warning, you assess the risk, but most likely you're not going to just slam on your brakes and stop. You're going to take that caution and then you're going to proceed through the light. Too often in our lives, we treat too many things as fear to the point that it stops us from being the best version of ourselves, or it stops us from pursuing our goals. And we often, as adults, we pass this stuff on to our children. So I want to talk about some examples of times I was stuck in fear and how I rationalized things to overcome it and move forward in pursuing my goals. I see a lot of other people acting out these same fears. But before I get too deep into this, check out this quick public service announcement. If you've been thinking about breaking out of the matrix and pursuing life on your own terms and your own time, and you find this journey interesting, consider subscribing to my channel where we're going to share a ton of life lessons, financial lessons, and how this all intersects with our family and our relationships and so forth. Also, if you take something valuable away from this video, please hit that like button and share this video with your friends and your family. Also, hit that post notification bell so that you know when we drop a new video. Now back to the video. So I'm going to talk about several instances where I experienced fear and how I rationalize getting through it with the goal that it can help you overcome your fears too. Fear of asking for what I was worth. I remember early in my career applying for jobs and I would always dread the question from the interviewer, "What are your salary expectations, sir?" Or if I'd been on the job, going and asking for a raise or promotion. The fear of missing out on getting the job or being told, no, you can't have a raise or promotion would lead to me accepting the status quo. I would either end up accepting the salary I was told the job paid, or I would wait around to see if my manager rewarded me during performance evaluation time. So how did I overcome this? I simply rationalized it by telling myself, if I don't ask for what I want or what I think I'm worth, I'm letting someone else decide. Who wants to go through life letting someone else decide what pay is right for you? Besides, if you don't ask for what you want, you don't even give the other side the opportunity to say yes. Worst case, they say no. I've never seen anyone get fired from their current job for asking for a promotion or a raise. With regard to applying for a new job, do you even want a job that doesn't compensate you for what you're worth? So you don't lose anything by asking for what you think you're worth. The sooner you get the no's out of the way, the quicker you can get to yes and what you're worth. Fear of commitment. And I know I'm not the only dude who had this fear, and I would suspect that women have this fear too. When I was younger, I would date women long term, and eventually the anxiety of being responsible for that person or the expectation of marriage, it would get the best of me, and I had to separate from that person. I'm telling y'all, I would get freaked out. And what's crazy is my parents were married for 50 years until my dad died. They got along great. They treated the kids great, worked as a team, and I definitely was a beneficiary from growing up in that type of environment. Eventually, I overcame my fear, and I've been married for over a decade now. Now, I'll admit, some of my ability to overcome my fear was maturity, but the key thing was I learned to spend more time focused on the positives. I started to focus on things like, do I get along with this person and enjoy being with them? Can I trust this person? Does this person have work ethic and goals they're pursuing? Does this person make me better? Is this person respectful to me and others? Do we make a great parent and financial partnership? And last but not least, is this person smoking hot? What I learned is that if the positives far outweigh the negatives, you just might want to make a commitment because crazy and trifling are easy to find. Fear of missing a paycheck. A lot of us have dreams of striking out on our own and telling the man to kick rocks. But how many people are scared to give up that paycheck? Most people are scared to give up that paycheck and have to hunt for their own food every day, especially if you make good money. You see, I was doing the things that helped me grow my salary. And at the same time, I was becoming more disgruntled with working my job. Being on that hamster wheel every day was eating away at my soul. But the fear of not having that steady income, it kept me there year after year after year. By the time my salary went over 200K a year, I was actually miserable. So how did I overcome this fear? I knew other people who ran a business or worked for themselves. I didn't see any difference in these people and myself. As a matter of fact, I quietly felt that I was just as prepared and just as skilled, but they were doers and I wasn't. I had to ask myself, can you cut back, stack money to support yourself for 12 to 18 months without a paycheck? Have you mastered a skill outside of your current job that you want to pursue and you can make money with? Do you have a partner who supports and encourages you to go on your freedom journey? And if all else fails, do you still have the skills to go out into the marketplace and get a similar job as you did before? Once I realized that I wasn't going to be homeless or picking up cans for a living, and the worst thing that could happen to me is that I had to go out and get another job. I told my job, I'm out. So far, I've been able to sustain my lifestyle through my real estate business for the past 8 months, and I'm looking at growing from here. It is a feeling that I cannot describe. Last but not least, fear of investment. So my side hustle for years was real estate when I was working a job. As you know, marketing is a major component of finding real estate deals, and I chose direct mail. When I started out, I was doing everything myself on the cheap, all the way from printing letters, stuffing envelopes, applying stamps and mailing them, trying to save money, because the idea of spending $1,000 a month on direct mail at that time to only get a handful of calls from sellers that said no thanks or cursed me out was crazy to me. Paying someone to do simple tasks that I could do myself made no sense either. The fear of spending money on people to do small dollar tasks to free myself up was actually causing me to waste time. The fear of making money from my day job and then flushing it down the toilet on direct mail marketing each month with no deals paralyzed me from moving forward. I was too scared to trust the investment I made in educating myself, scared to put money into an opportunity and trust that it would come back in the form of a deal and buying a discounted house that I could make a profit on. Sometimes there's not a lot of rationalizing. You just get to a point that you just have to stare fear in the face and accept the potential consequences, especially when those consequences are just money. You're not going to die from being broke temporarily. You're not going to lose any limbs. You just might see a few hundreds or a few $1,000s less in your bank account. That's it. So I had to start facing fear. I started out by spending $500 a month on direct mail postcards, and I committed to 6 months no matter what. And after around month 3, I got my first deal, and I remember making $15,000 on a wholesale deal where I didn't even bring any money to the deal. From there, I increased my list size and I started spending $1,000 a month, and then $2,000 a month, and then $3,000 a month. And I saw a corresponding increase in opportunities. And I'm not a large operator by any means, but I overcame the fear of spending money to the point that I'm now looking at spending up to $100,000 on marketing in 2024. I had to get over the fear that I was losing money each month, but instead I was buying more opportunities that deals were going to come later if I was consistent in my marketing. It's no different than the established companies that send you coupons each month in the mail year after year. If you're one of those people out there who's been paralyzed by fear, just think about the worst thing that could happen. Think about, if that bad thing did happen, how would you handle it? How would you deal with it? Most of the time, you're going to find that your fear is just an illusion that you made up in your mind. The threat that you think is there, it's really just a minor obstacle that you can use caution with, but proceed forward anyway. So go out there and tackle your fears and start achieving a life that you want for yourself. Don't be the person that lets fear limit you. That's all I have for you today. I'd love to know your thoughts on overcoming your fears, so drop me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Until we meet again, take care and be safe out here in these social media streets.